Hey y'all, Chad Siebold here with Total Acre, here with Jake Drozd out of Southwest Michigan. Really excited to be here today with Jake. Listen, you guys come down a little ways at the Farm Progress Show. Glad we were able to connect.
Yeah, hey, it's always good seeing you guys and seeing some of the team. And yeah, it's only about a 4.5 hour drive. It's better than the Iowa drive.
Yeah,
so,
it gets a little tougher for you for sure. Is anybody chopping corn yet? Got to be getting close. Things looking all right up north?
Yeah, I guess there is guys north of us chopping corn now. I don't know what yields are like or anything like that. They never tell you how things are going.
If you look at everybody else out there, record yields everywhere. Just fib to them like everybody else is talking. Jake, I tell you what, one of the things I was happy to get you on, I know you've been with Total Acre for quite a few years now, but you're one of the camp hosts. You dig in deep when it comes to networking, access to information, and showcasing products and services. What I really like about that is it's not really about a product. It's about how they work, and where they work best.
Yeah, we've been with Total Acre now for 26 will be our 6th season. 6th or 7th now.
Thank you for that.
I'm losing track.
Almost since inception.
I don't do the camp host stuff alone. I do co-camp host with Dave Schrock out of Indiana. And yeah, it's fun to meet all the guys from around the country and the different camps. And, obviously growing up knowing David really well, David's basically a second dad for me.
Sure.
Our families have grown so close together, and it's fun just learning from everybody. And
well, some big responsibility too, right? Because I've seen some record yields coming out of not just Michigan, but that I'm going to call it the network, right? So like the guys that you've had an influence over as a camp member, as a camp host, the members underneath of that, it is a family underneath of that umbrella too. And maybe talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, for the past 2 or 3 years, some of the best bean field and corn fields in all of the Total Acre group have come out of the Great Lakes camp. One of our neighbors just north of us, he had the best corn yield last year in Total Acre. I think it was like 307 bushel for a field.
That's right, yep.
And the year before that, our Canada friends, they had the top bean field, if I remember correctly. It was 102 bushel, I think?
107 is what I thought. You're probably right. I always inflate a little.
I don't remember, but yeah, we have good progressive growers. Everybody, and it's great. We all want to help each other. We all want to do better. So it's
Jake, that's it,
cool.
Right? It's not.
That's what
it's
Total
not
Acre is
everybody
about.
Keeping secret. Yeah. So that network is, again, I keep saying it, but it's access to information. There's no real secrets. David will always say there's no silver bullets, but I'm going to tell you if there was one that I could tell you that is out there is the silver bullet is really the network that you get as a Total Acre member. Really,
the silver bullet for me is asking the questions. If you don't ask the questions, how do you know?
You were out here yesterday and we were talking to David, and it was kind of fun to hear him talk about all the mistakes that he's made over a period of time. It's a lot cheaper to let somebody else make the mistake and then learn from that, right? That's kind of one of the tricks.
We might as well let David do it. Maybe give some of us a chance.
That's right. That's right. Well, speaking of giving him a chance, I don't know where you're going to set at this year, but I heard him talking that he was going to take out David's 623 this year.
That ain't going to be in Michigan. I can tell you that right now. It's not going to be from me. So.
Well, the consistency, though, is what it's about, right? Being consistent across all those acres.
Well, think about it. David, like you said, he wasn't afraid to fail growing up. And, he's been consistent now for years. He'll tell you in June if his corn's good or if it's not good.
Yeah.
That award yesterday, that was well deserved on his part for everybody's talk, not just me and our family. He's always been very good to us, and yeah, I could never thank him enough to ever pay him back for what he's done for us.
He wouldn't take any appreciation or a pat on the back.
Well, that's not true. He'll take a Chick-fil-A coupon. He'll take some of my points every now and then.
That's right. Just give him your Chick-fil-A points. That's all that matters. Well, your relationship's certainly special and unique, but I think the crazy thing is inside of that group, sharing information, access to YMS, so the data sharing platform. I want to talk a little bit about trials because I know you've been very heavily involved, and it's kind of a select community within the community where Brian and Bryce and Jake and that team will say, hey, Mr. Producer, Mr. Total Acre Producer, we've got a product with a certain protocol. We'd love to be able to try these on your acres. You've been doing that for 3 or 4 years with Brian?
Oh, yeah.
So full field, full.
Yeah, you're talking, usually these companies want to do 20 to 40 acres for the most part. They'll have you tissue sampling, soil sampling, could have soil health tests involved in it. They want to see things at different angles, and it's pretty cool stuff. And at the end of the day, you get you send the data in and all that, you get a nice check.
It's beautiful.
my wife didn't know it. I'm sure once she sees this, I paid for an engagement ring doing trials through Total Acre. So, and had some money left over to boot. So
it's a nice little perk, right? At the end of the day.
It's awesome because all that data, not only does it go, the company gets the data, but you keep that in your field history on YMS. And so you get to look back on that for years to come.
I kind of beat up on a company or two talking about, listen, it's not always about when it works. It's about when it doesn't work. How do we as a group make you better as a company? And I've seen, certain times we see challenges. What I love from a producer perspective is that engagement, right? So they're not saying throw us away, right? They're saying, hey, work with us to make us better at what we're doing.
Yeah, and in a lot of cases, us on our farm, when we do a trial, we want to figure out, if it doesn't work, we want to figure out why, and the thing about Total Acre growers is, we're doing all these, Total Acre steps, the must-dos, more higher production type things.
Sure.
You've already built the bottom part of your pyramid. Now you're coming up to those niche products. Okay. The problem that we can have sometimes in trials can be, we see a negative. Well, that's the fun part about the trials too, though, is how can we fit these products into the programs that us in the Total Acre group are already running? Let's find out why these products sometimes maybe not perform the way you want them to.
Sure.
Let's get them to the point where they perform well.
Well, and I think for the folks that maybe were here are going to see some more information on David's award that he just won, that he doesn't want to talk about anymore. He's so tired of hearing about it. But it is built on the backs of the vendors that are able and willing to take a risk.
These companies,
showcasing
they want to see you do well.
Yes, it's a unique thing, and again, there's others that are doing it. I'm going to tell you right now, with what Total Acre, that network, the data sharing, the YMS platform, there's kind of a nice little bundle there that makes it easier for a grower. Yeah. If you're looking at it from Total Acre's perspective, you've been a member for, 6 years now?
6 years.
So it's not like you have to graduate after 3 years and go away. Most of our members stick with us because of the network, because of the data sharing, all that stuff.
This is the part I love the most is like in my area, I have a tougher time making friends that want to do the higher yielding, higher production type crop. And so joining Total Acre, it helped me make newer friends that wanted to talk the same stuff that I wanted to talk.
Sure.
And so the networking was number one. 2, obviously, is the software. I mean, the software is amazing. Now I'm not putting my tissue samples in my own graphing spreadsheet anymore. It's all flows right into the website. Easy.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
It's awesome. And
so Jake, when you talk limiting factor, right? Most of the time it's about chemistry, it's about fertility. I think one of the limiting factors is the network or who you're working with in your circle, right? And what do they say? The people you talk to most, the 5 most, that's your circle, right?
Yep.
And I'm going to challenge you. You don't throw any of your Total Acre members under the bus, but there's probably 5 or 6 guys in there that are your core that you really push stuff back and forth for.
Yeah, I'll be up front with you. Dave Schrock and I, we talk a lot, every day. Obviously, I talk to David a few times a day.
Yep.
But, as far as camp, you got certain ones that, you'll talk, we might be close, you just ask your neighbor, did it rain up by you? Or,
sure.
Those conversations can spawn from just asking what's going on there today, and so.
Well, Schrock's in Indiana, right? You're in Michigan. I know you talk to guys out in in the Delaware, Maryland, Virginia area, but it's this weird little kind of group that really kind of is not afraid to showcase, ask those tough questions.
Yeah.
I know guys got their little text chats, but it is kind of a family. When we went down to Grower Clinic, it was funny because it was like a family reunion.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys are breaking bread together, having conversations. How's the kid? What's going on at college now? That's how long they've been in the group.
Well, you think about it. Okay, there's a couple that were in the Total Acre group from out of Nebraska, Dan and Becky Fitz.
Oh yeah.
And I've always known them. Not really talked much, but I've always, since I was a kid, seen them going to Pioneer events, whether it's Commodity Classic or anything, just at times. Mm-hmm. And when I finally saw them there, I'm like, I'm going to go talk to them for a little bit. And shoot, now Dad and I, it's like, man, when we see them at trade shows and stuff, it's like, man, we'll talk for an hour.
Yeah.
It's just, that's what Total Acre does. It I don't know, in a way, yeah, you pay, but it like almost makes you want to do it.
Yeah, and without making it a commercial, I'm going to tell you right now, that's a special piece.
Yeah,
I was talking to. Did you?
Well, let me finish that there. This for me, it is not a commercial ever. It is the solid truth. Like I truly believe, and there is other peer groups that they're good too. There really is. There are a lot of different things. There's a lot of information to get out there. But just, joining the Total Acre group, I've just met so many great people.
Yep.
And just learned so much. And it's helped us hone on so many little details to help our farm get better and to where it is today.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you, so I think when you look at the holistic approach, I'm gonna bring up another member again. Just there's all the little characters, right? I think it's like Deadliest Catch. If you go out and if you recorded all these little characters, and you guys know who you are, they're very unique. But I was talking to one of the new members, started last year. He actually had a business that was actually, if you check out American Farming, he created a farming simulator for the phone, and actually went to Iowa State, so he wasn't a Michigan State guy. And
that's okay.
And this is not a bash on any university, but when he went to school for 4 years in agronomy, he goes, Chad, in 1 year I learned so much on the agronomic side of things. And some of it was through YMS, some of it was, but it was all the networking. It was being able to ask the tough questions. And if you can accelerate your knowledge in 2 years, in a year, really after 3 years, you're pretty advanced. But why do you stay on the year after that third? Because it is a 3-year program. Year 1, it takes you a minute or two to get up to speed. Year 2, you're pretty dialed in. Year 3, you got it.
I just want to keep doing better.
Constant.
It's almost like a computer game. It's like, oh man, I beat that level. Or it's almost like Super Mario. I beat that level.
Now you're showing your age, man.
I can get the next level. I'm gonna get the next level. And,
I love it.
And then, like I said, you just keep meeting these newer people and see old friends, and you just keep learning from each other.
Yeah.
It's addictive.
It's one of those things too, when you start to really probably look back. We did a little bit, right? When we started to talk about what David's accomplished over the last 2 decades. We call it the decade of dominance. But if you start to reflect where your guys' relationship started, where it's evolved to, and then you've learned over time, these folks are accessible, which is really fun. Jake, I'm not going to put you on the spot, but I'm going to put you on the spot. What's the one thing, if you had to have one takeaway, other than you're melting here next to the grain bin, what's the one thing that, if somebody's looking inside a Total Acre at an opportunity to do something this fall before they get in the cab, what's the one thing you really like as you're trying to talk about what Total Acre can do for somebody?
Well, for me, if you're going into fall looking for 26, it is clearly the software. Because you'll go pull soil samples, just send them in, they'll move into your field that you built, and then boom, right there you got SoilRex popping up. And SoilRex is one of the most used and one of the most unused tools. And for us, it has been huge. It just helps us build our soil, or you can make it a yearly type thing. The software for me, if you're getting ready for 26, the software is the biggest deal right now. When we get to later in fall, winter time, the guys that are done harvesting, obviously the biggest thing we want to look at is planter setup.
Sure. Well, now you're going into the second thing. I only gave him one thing. So it is a systematic approach, right? You got to start.
Oh, yeah.
Then it's your stacking, like I think you call it stair step, right?
We can't get to, it's always been like the yield goal that all farmers want to get to is 300 bushel.
Sure.
Okay, well, you can't get to 300 bushel if your stand is terrible. And so you might as well get the planter ready. Then we'll plant and go from there.
Well, go back to the one thing that he said. So I want to bring in some folks here that are really talking fertility, right? So here in just a minute, I'm going to talk to the folks that are presenting this podcast, which is Redox Bionutrients. But price of fertilizer right now, which everybody's talking about. It doesn't matter if it's on social media. It doesn't matter if you're talking to the co-op. Just going through the roof. What are you seeing up north?
I'm going to guess that MAP's probably going to be close to $1,000 a ton by next spring.
I've seen $950, $900.
Okay, so you're already seeing it. Yep. So maybe it'll be closer to $1,200 for all I know. Oh, I sure as heck ain't going to be using that.
Scary, right? Seeing some of these prices.
1034, I'm guessing is going to be high too.
Yep.
The problem for us is we're in a colder climate, so we don't have manure on our farm. We're just corn and soybeans, a little milo here and there.
Sure.
So for us, we're still going to need a little bit of 1034 to get that quick jump start to the plant. Nitrogen, nitrogen's anywhere from 50 cents all the way up to 85 cents a pound. So it's just all over the place.
It's crazy.
Honestly, I haven't gotten a price on potash yet because it's like I'm too nervous to get a price on it. So.
It's coming in and it's here, right? We don't even have something out of the field. Now all of a sudden we're starting to hear all these pricing, opportunities for 26. Jake, before I introduce these folks, I want to thank you for coming in today. It was one of those things when you talk
this was
about
fun.
what Total Acre can do to folks and do for folks. It's unique. I
Yeah.
appreciate you talking. If you want to learn more about the camps, the Great Lake camps
We should
specifically,
have done it with David.
we should have. I think he's probably at another interview out here at Farm Progress. But if you guys want to learn more about the Great Lakes camp or any of the other camps, the only plug that I will put in here is that just because you're in a certain region, maybe you're in Indiana, you don't have to be in the Great Lakes camp. You could be in the Iowa camp. You could be in the North Dakota camp. You could go Delmarva camps.
We have, like I said, we have growers. We have a grower in Missouri who's in our Great Lakes camp. I think we have a grower in Iowa who's in our camp. So yeah, we had a couple guys here in Illinois that come to our camp over here too. And as far as meetings go, any grower from any camp can go to any meeting they want. That's what's cool.
It's a special deal, and you can switch from year to year too, right?
Yeah.
Jake, I appreciate you coming in. Thanks for giving a little bit more insight on Total
Thanks.
Acre and some of the camps, and from a camp host side of things. Appreciate you, man.
Co-camp host.
Co-camp host. Sorry, Schrock. Thanks, Jake. Good seeing you.